So the globe is the womb inverted. It's just a delusion brought on by extreme childhood trauma involving psychedelic drugs, which these satanic cults, put children through. So it's just an extreme regressive quote realization, but that's not how it actually is. The Earth is provably flat, and you can look into that. Hopefully, on your individualized internet, they'll allow you to examine that evidence, and it's just so obvious. Not going to get into it. So all this seemingness, it's yeah. Anyway, it's a lot to wade through. I've recovered some memories recently about the programming, the early programming that I received, and yeah, I've come to the conclusion that it might have been best had my life taken an entirely different course very early on. Had I been framed for this thing, for this terrible crime that would have been committed anyway, when I was only 7 years old. Oh boy, friends. And so right now I'm demonstrating, a cracking up, MK Ultra survivor meltdown. Anyway, but so I mean, I'm sure this is very terrible. This is just terribly distressing. What I've realized is, I knew this before, of course, but we all try to evade it, and there's simply a battle between good and evil, friends, and that's all that's going on. Yeah, the forces of suppression and the forces in league with the truth, who are pursuing the truth. Yeah. Anyway, here's my, I've taken all my videos down because I realized they've been tainted, and I've been led along, and this has been orchestrated. These events have been orchestrated decades in the past by these psychedelic masterminds, these diabolical types that compose the deep state, which is a shadow government which runs this country. And so anyway, they've been working with supercomputers and before that, flowcharts. And anyway, it's easy to orchestrate these events. And everybody's under mind control. Everybody's being programmed during their sleep. Everybody's got nanotech crystallizations in their tissues, and to some extent, everybody's being controlled. Here's my Skype number if you'd like to talk to me and have me clear anything up. Maybe what to do. I'd like to clean up my channel and scrub it of all the tarnishment. Polish it up, and we'll do some reenactments and so on, and it might be a pay-per-view type of situation, pay-per-download type of situation in the future when this whole phenomenon becomes more of a problem. I think we can do that. I've suffered too much really to just. And they presented a kind of a join or die type of ultimatum with me. So I it's as far as how I see it now, it's kind of satanic cult, blood in, blood out type of situation. You know? So, but it's just I should probably get out of town, and I'm asking all the Christians out there to pray for me because I've really really seen a lot of awful things, and been I've been cultivated in just such a manner, and been involved in some historical events, and I am a whistleblower. I'm a military veteran. I was in the Marine Corps. I was in the U.S. Army as well, and I was involved in some things, and I was involved in the operation that made 9/11 happen, and you should know that. And I'm not going to go into the details at this point. I believe I need some kind of protection, but that's not going to be coming. It's because who these people are. So they'd rather just, I don't know. I don't know what I need to do. I don't know. If you have any suggestions, again, you could contact me. So I realize now that this book that I've been working on, a kind of an expose of all the tactics, and so to prime people, prepare them against this kind of stuff, should they encounter it, and what how to guard against it, and how to, and there are some foolproof ways, and I've been isolated and marginalized and isolated, and that's what happens, and it's fourth generation warfare. And it's a really sophisticated stuff. It's a very complex chess game, and each piece it's carved just specifically. Everybody's a specific piece, and they're carved, and there's more than just pawns and rooks and knights and bishops and queens and kings and so on. And they're carved exactly a certain way and made out of a certain type of wood. Some have a rough finish. Some have a mirror polish, and they're stained differently, and they got little runes on them and different things, and it's it's very and all these pieces are moving around at a rapid clip, and amazingly, I mean, this is being orchestrated by artificial intelligence now. Oh, anyway, so I mean, this is the kind of short story, this is the kind of science fiction that I write about, and it's. But at this time, funnily enough, I mean, I haven't made a single dime from any of my my online products. I've received notifications that I'm getting royalties from this book, Emo Apocalypse in Summertime. So I don't recommend you buy that from me or any of my other online products because I haven't made a dime on them as yet. Maybe the message is that paper copies only. Paper copies only. Because those things ultimately they can be more readily destroyed, I suppose. I don't know. No, I don't know. So maybe I need to get out of town. That's what I need to do. Because I really anyway. Yeah, it's how I'm seeing the recent realizations. It's such a sad scene, and all the things they do, the things they make you believe, the things they make you believe through pain compliance, little stories gleaned from the writings of somebody they were torturing, back in the 50s or 70s or whatever, and then he committed suicide, or he was suicided, and then they came in and said, oh, you don't want to read this depressing thing, this haunted literature. We'll take it off your hands and store it in a safe place, ma'am. They glean all this intelligence from it. They pour over it, and anyway, and assess the effectiveness of their methods and and they refine their little clandestine technologies, their microwave emitter arts, and right. Yeah. Anyway, I was given the choice at the age of 7 to kill this little witch, or not. He was some kind of developmentally disabled kid. He'd been so deprived and poisoned as he was growing up that there's just parts of him that just weren't there emotionally. He was a little sociopath, and I've been programmed. There were little phrase commands and things, and he could just tell me what to do, and I would do it. At one point, he said, "Oh, here's a knife. Here's a knife. You can kill me with it. But if you do that, you'll have to take my place. One day." They believe in this Gnostic cyclic serpent eating its tail kind of arrangement. That's there seems to be a lot of truth to that. But I don't know how. I don't know. And they told me the story about what they do. And Dean Koontz describes this in his book, False Memory. It came out in 99. And there's some people who are trying to gaslight me into, at the time, this might have been 2000, early 2000. They were trying to gaslight me in this bookstore into reading it, because they knew what was going on with me. This was in Oceanside, California. So, but they couldn't just come right out and say it. I mean, they identified and dealt with. I didn't read it until last year, but I had recollections of it, from the prevision anyway. But it describes the techniques that they're used using hypnotic drugs, to gain access to somebody's subconscious mind, and that's where the initial programming can be constructed, and then it just that builds the foundation from there, for mind control. It's a real thing. It's been going on for thousands of years, friends. It's witchcraft. This device here in front of you, it's a tool of witchcraft. All these little crystal switches. It's a crystal grid. It's witchcraft. Stuff Tesla was working on. It's all witchcraft. Whatever. We're all a bunch of witches in a sense. Sorcerers, so to speak. Sure. At any rate, this. So yes, he gave me the option. This little kid, when I was a little kid, and he gave me the option to kill him. And I was painted with all this these pentagrams and all this stuff, and should I have spilled his blood, I would have been one of these falsely convicted cover-up stories, for the satanic cults that were in operation then and now. Now they're a little more cloaked up, they got more layers of well, I mean, they did then. It was just, I don't know what it was during the 80s. That time period astrologically was kind of a hotbed. It's the same things going on today, but as I understand it. So, this makes me seem, the average person cannot relate to this. This does not mirror their experience whatsoever at all. And we don't like to believe in unpleasant things. And And so, it's a wild tale told by a very imaginative person, I suppose. So, but if you'd like more information, you can talk to me, sir. Yeah, it's been all kinds of things have happened. I've been waylaid. I've been misdirected, and different things. I don't have adequate RF shielding in my truck, or other places that I've slept. And you can pick up on you can pick up on the subliminal voice to skull programming. That little bit of it, and so the situation was basically, I mean, they wanted, I was they came after me because I got more life force. I was born during the year of the horse. It was an Earth horse year in '78. Born on the last day of that year, and then I had the Pisces rising sign, which makes me a little bit like a Pisces. So, my consciousness tend to be a very creative person, and my consciousness will tend to fill in the gaps and link stuff up, and so it makes a person extra programmable. So that was all part of it. No, I don't want to tell this story because it's the next story I can't tell because it's potentially defamatory, and you see, oh, I can't even get into this. See, I can't even. Yeah, I can't even. Yeah. See, that's all a big trap. It's all a big trap. You know. And it's not that the people involved necessarily have any ill intent. You know. It's not necessarily they may not. It's a seemingness thing. It's a seemingness thing. It's what they've been led to believe. It's their preconceptions. It's what they've been shown uh, as a way to explain what's going on with me. You know, it's what it's. They've been, perhaps these people have been pre-programmed, in a particular way, and so it's just the last little nail in the coffin that could ruin a man. And I realized, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be able to publish that book, and I'm gonna have to thoroughly scrub all my YouTube videos, make a series of documentaries, out of that material, you know, or just like it could, some of it could be material in some feature films, perhaps, Yeah, all this kind of thing, all this kind of thing is it's getting censored. It's getting labeled as fake news. Just anything that disturbs people, anything that conflicts with the dominant worldview, anything that costs anybody the slightest bit of money, you know. And I've cost people some money. So right. That's another crime that has to be you can't overlook, because you can never be too secure in this world, you know. You need to live forever, And oh boy, that's on the horizon. That's already possible, friends. You know. So what I thought was, I don't know, I don't really truly know the situation. I don't know the situation. I don't want to cast aspersions on anybody. And I'd like to find out what the truth might be. But hmm, drawing a blank of protection, I suppose. Yeah, I get the sense that there's plenty of ruined man shambling, through the streets, talking to himself. You know, who was met with a similar situation, and he used to be a genius. You know, and he was a really good person with really good intentions. Those are the people they come after the hardest. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you got any ideas for me. I mean, I just, I got a lot of, I want to love my enemies, I love my enemies. And realize there's different types of crosses to take up, So I don't know how to proceed here. Um, and I don't know what's what. So please, if you know something, if you know anything, if you have any advice for me personally or of a business nature, please hit me up on Skype. Again, here's that number. Thanks so much, and have a good day. You all need to get some RF shielding. Especially in the room you sleep in. There's this product called Veil Guard. It seems like it's this great fabric. Could even be sewn into upholstery, and then you should ground it. Right into the ground in the socket in the wall. There are other products anyway. That way, you can't be programmed in your sleep. That's how half of this stuff works. Half of their little orchestrations. You can be a free actor out there. You can be acting in line with the will of God rather than the reverse. Anyway, guys, this is just for fun. I mean, I'm just I'm just toying around with some science fictiony ideas. I've been studying the Book of Revelation, and it's pretty wild stuff. Pretty wild stuff. It kind of makes you wonder. I mean, is that really happening? I don't know.